Next up, we've got Ziv Attar. He is the CEO and founder of LinX Imaging, one of LDV's most recent additions to the portfolio. LinX is a startup that's using groundbreaking technology to deliver photographs that can only be captured today with huge, expensive professional equipment. He is an imaging expert with 20 years of experience in optics and image processing, and previously worked at Apple, leading various computational photography projects. Ziv also founded LinX Imaging, which was acquired by Apple and built the first stereo-based portrait effect based on dual camera systems for smartphones. Ziv, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks again, Abby, for making the introduction, and glad to be here. As Abby said, we're a company developing technology for smartphone cameras, but also for other applications. We'll dive in on the next slide. And we are a proud part of the LDV portfolio and happy to be here. Thank you. So cameras have been around for pretty much forever. This camera on the left is like 300 years old, but only in the last 10, 15 years, everyone's kind of become photographers. Some of us own cameras before that, but now everyone owns a camera. Kids have smartphones. It's always with us. So we take lots of pictures, obviously. If you look at the evolution of smartphone photography, and I just take iPhone here as an example, but the same applies for all the other brands, Samsung and then others. They started with very small cameras, very bad quality, very small sensors, poor optics. Over the years, it kind of grew, and then more cameras came in to allow different field of views and different features like blurring background, ultra wide camera, things like that. But then what's next? Is this next? We think this is not a good solution, just a mock-up from the internet. Cameras on phones have always been trying to catch up with big professional photography in terms of resolution, light gathering, video, autofocus, OIS. All these things were gradually added over the years. Low light photography has been improved, and in 2016's portrait mode, and then very recently Apple also launched portrait video, and other companies are following as well. Let's look at the differences between the big cameras and the iPhones, where they try to play catch up. So we took the same image with the camera with a big sensor, professional, and with an iPhone. And when you zoom in, you start to see differences. This image is in low light. There's also some major difference between professional photography and smartphone photography is the depth of field effect, that the background is typically not blurred on phones. Portrait mode is intended to take care of that and kind of imitate a big lens. And it looks good when you view it on your smartphone screen, but once you start to zoom in, you start to see weird kind of artifacts, and I'm willing to take the blame for that. So me and my previous company, we actually invented this technology and ended up selling it to Apple, and then we implement on the iPhone 7 Plus, which is the first iPhone to have dual camera. It's great for instantly sharing, but it's not something you would want to show your kids in 10 years from now. So what we're doing here at LinX, we're basically we want to bring the professional photography quality into smartphone, and we need to look at the differences, why the professional cameras behave much better in terms of quality. So if we look at the main difference is the size of the sensor. So the white thing here shows the sensor of a full frame camera, and the blue rectangle shows you the size of a typical smartphone sensor, and that accounts for the difference. Now, putting and it's about 30x different in size. Putting a big sensor on a smartphone is possible in terms of size. Phones are pretty big machines in XY, but they're very thin. And if you put a big sensor, you have to put a big lens, and that's kind of what you will have. And that's not a phone you cannot put in your pocket. Nobody wants to have that. What we're doing here at LinX is basically we're co-developing a lens, and we're removing lots of constraint like symmetry from the lens together with the neural network. It's an iterative process that we're doing. And the idea is that the neural network actually replace some of the lenses and help you remove mechanical constraints and allow you to build a much better quality, but still fit it into a very thin package. So it's a combination of lens which deviate from symmetry a lot, a very big sensor which is able to collect a ton more light than what you have in smartphones today, and neural networks that are co-developed together with the optics. This just kind of shows us a schematic of how we are able to squeeze in a much bigger sensor and how the lens deviate from symmetry. compared to traditional cameras. Some samples from the prototypes that we already have here in our lab. So this is an image from one of our cameras. And when you zoom in and compare it to iPhone 13 Max, which is one of the best iPhones today, when you start zooming in, you start to see real big differences. Yeah, this image is in low light, so you can see even more dramatic differences. Why it's important? So, magical moments happen just once. We can't go back in time and retake pictures. Display technology is changing. It's not going to stay the same. We're not going to view these images on a tiny screen forever. They are getting bigger. VR is going to take off at some stage. And we must future-proof our memories that we've got today. It's kind of our obligations to the moments that happen. We want to capture them with the best possible quality. And then when will this be in your phone? There's lots of challenges that we're working on to get this, the whole supply chain in line. Our team here is working very hard on it, and hopefully in about a year or two, you'll be able to have it in your smartphone. Thank you. If you want to read more, you can read some on the LDV blog post on TechCrunch or on our website. There's lots of articles about it. Thank you.